Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here and welcome back to the railway. People just love talking about how heavy certain model locomotives are. I've been in so many conversations that go something like, have you felt how heavy such and such loco is? And someone will say no. And then we'll follow some sort of holding ceremony where somebody gets to hold the engine for the first time and they go, whoa, blimey, that's heavy, crikey. People just love heavy model trains. It's satisfying when a locomotive is heavy. So that got me thinking, what are the heaviest locomotives out there in 00 scale? And for me, it's actually quite easy to answer that question because every time I review a locomotive, I write down the weight in my files. So all I've got to do is open up my files and find out which ones are the heaviest. So today I've decided to do a top 10 heaviest 00 scale locomotives. Now, I have decided to restrict this to just 00 locomotives and not HO ones, which might seem a little bit strange because obviously I do own quite a few HO locomotives. But the thing is, I've only got a fraction of all of the HO locomotives produced. So I could do a top 10 with those, but there'll be loads of HO models that I haven't got, which are probably heavier, so it won't mean very much. It's a little bit different with 00 though, because I would guess that I've got the vast majority of locomotives ever produced in 00 scale, so I think it's a bit more meaningful for me at least to do a top 10 00 locos. Having said that, there still are plenty of 00 models that I haven't got. So if you think you've got one that's heavier than the locos I'm going to show today, feel free to pop that down in the comments and we'll see if there are any that I've missed. Also, if you'd like to make some predictions on what you think will be the heaviest locos in 00, also feel free to pause the video now and pop those predictions down in the comments. For now though, let's get started with the loco in 10th place, and it's actually not one that I've currently got, which might give you a clue, so I'll have to revert to some of the footage I shot when I did have it, and it is of course this, the KR Models Bullied Leader class, which weighed in at 627 grams. So yeah, a steam locomotive on this list. Unsurprisingly, most of the locos in today's video are going to be diesels with a smattering of electric, but there are a couple of steam locos in this video, so stay tuned, I am going to be talking about steam later on. Anyway, the Bullied Leader may have been a duff model from KR Models, but it certainly was heavy. And I guess that makes sense because it's built kind of like a diesel, and it doesn't look much like a steam locomotive, does it? So 627 grams, that puts this loco in 10th place. In 9th place, we have a locomotive made by Bachmann, and that is this. This is Bachmann's Class 40, which is a little bit heavier than the Bullied Leader at 629 grams. And as you can see, this is an absolutely massive diesel locomotive. But there are smaller diesels appearing in this list, which are heavier than this one. So yeah, it is heavy, but there are some far denser locomotives coming up later in this video. Some of them I just can't believe are as heavy as they are. But yeah, this one's really good and meaty, heavy die-cast chassis on the inside, of course. And this is also quite an old model by Bachmann, and you do tend to find that older models are usually a bit heavier than newer models, because obviously newer models have to have spaces carved out in their chassis for things like lighting and speakers, sometimes very large speakers and modern decoders and such. So yeah, possibly that's why this is in the list, because there's not as much tech on this, although some of the locos today are pretty high tech. Right, so where are we? That was 10, 9, so 8th place. In 8th place we have this. This is Dapol's Class 68. Great to see a Dapol locomotive in here. As I was saying, I'm sure this is smaller than the Class 40, but it is quite a bit heavier this time at 668 grams, so more than 30 grams heavier than the Class 40. This is also a Bobo locomotive, and I think it's also the only Bobo on this list. So I think we can crown this the heaviest Bobo locomotive that I've ever collected, which is quite interesting. I didn't realise that was the case. So yeah, there you have it, the Dapol Class 68 at 668 grams. That's funny, isn't it? It's got 68 in its weightage. Anyway, let's move on. Alright, funnily enough, the next locomotive is also made by Dapol, but this is much larger. It is this, Dapol's Class 59, which is a relatively new model, came out just a couple of years ago, I believe, and this is indeed heavier than the Class 68 at 675 grams. So not much heavier, but just a little bit heavier. Once again, a very mighty diesel from Dapol, although we have got heavier, of course. Next up, we have a locomotive from yet another manufacturer. This one's Cavalex, so you know which that's going to be. It is, of course, their Class 60 locomotive. Brand new for this year, of course, and a very, very weighty model, which is quite impressive given this opening in the side where you can see right through the model. Even with that opening, it is the heaviest of the locomotives we've seen so far at 675 grams. So I guess technically it's the same as the 59, but I've put this above the 59 because it's a slightly shorter model and it's got a big opening inside it, which makes this the more impressive weight, I would say. So the Cavalex Class 60, an incredibly dense locomotive. Now, the next engine, which is in 5th place, is denser yet again because it's even smaller than the Class 60, yet it's considerably heavier. And introducing Accurascale, we're going to be hearing from them quite a bit now in this video. It is, of course, this, the Class 37, which weighs just a few more grams than the Class 60. It's only a little bit heavier at 678 grams. But again, considering this loco is even smaller, possibly even one of the smallest in today's video, that is absolutely astonishing. And what makes this even crazier, and other Accurascale locos too, I suppose, is that there is loads of tech in here. Accurascale locos do have speakers, they have even cavities for their big Accura thrash. I don't want to say thrush, I said that once and it was very wrong. The Accura thrash speakers, they're massive. There's space for those in these locos. Plus they've got lighting packages, sometimes things like working fans and such. Yeah, the weight of Accurascale's models is mind-blowing. I don't quite understand how they do it. So yeah, there you go, 5th place, Accurascale's Class 37. Okay, 4th place is a bit less surprising because it is absolutely massive. It's yet another Accurascale locomotive, and it is this, Accurascale's Class 92, which was the first or second, I think the second Accurascale loco I ever tried. And yeah, this weighs a ton. This comes in at 685 grams, so a good chunk heavier than the Class 37, which is definitely not a surprise given how much larger this is. So perhaps not as dense as the Class 37, but I think it cost about the same, possibly the same. So yeah, even more loco for your money this time. All right, now we're getting into the top 3 locomotives, and the next one is by Accurascale, yet again, but it was first released by Hattons, so maybe we'll give Hattons some of the credit for this. You know which one it is now because I've said that. It is, of course, the Accurascale Class 66. And when I tested out a Hattons 66, that was the heaviest locomotive I'd ever reviewed. Obviously, now there are heavier than that. But this is still in the top 3, of course, weighing in at 706 grams. So this is the first 00 locomotive in today's video to break that 700 gram barrier. It is astonishingly heavy, and yet again, especially the Accurascale release, has loads of tech on board. So the fact that it has all that and it's still so heavy is just crazy to me. So yeah, an amazingly heavy loco, 706 grams. And of course, things are only going to get heavier from here with the top 2. So the locomotive in 2nd place is quite a surprise actually, because it's another steam locomotive. I bet you weren't expecting that, but it is. It's another steam loco, and hopefully I'm not destroying it because it's a hard one to hold. It is a Helgen loco, the Bayer Garrett. And this weighs in at 723 grams, which is a lot, but obviously that's not surprising because this is by far the largest loco I've showed today. Yeah, it is absolutely massive, but it sure does weigh a lot. And of course, because this is a double drive locomotive, it's got 2 motors in it, one powering each set of wheels. This is a mightily powerful locomotive. So if you're wondering which locomotives can haul the biggest, longest trains on your layout, this is definitely going to be one of them. So there you go, for the steam enthusiasts, yet another steam locomotive. But now we need to get on to the heaviest loco in 00 scale that I've got. There may be heavier ones for sure, but here we come with number 1. It's also made by Accurascale, and it is the first Accurascale loco I ever tried. It is, of course, this, the Accurascale Deltic, which absolutely blows all of the other engines out of the water at 806 grams. This is the only 00 loco I've got to weigh in over 800 grams. This is an absolute monster, Accurascale's first and heaviest locomotive. But I have had a preview of Accurascale's Class 60, which I believe will be heavier than this. I've not put it in this video yet because it's not officially come out, and who knows, maybe they'll modify the loco so that it's lighter for the final release. I don't have any reason to believe that, but you don't know. So at the moment, this is the heaviest, but Accurascale's Class 60 could well beat this. So there you go, those were the top 10 heaviest locomotives. Of course, most of them, though, were diesels. So that got me thinking, what about the top 10 heaviest steam locomotives? So more quickly, let's go through those and reveal what those are. So in 10th place, we have Hornby's new-tooled 9F, which weighs in at 473 grams. And as one of Britain's largest and heaviest locomotives, it makes sense that this is one of the largest and heaviest in model form as well. But it's far from the heaviest. In 9th place, we have another Helgen locomotive. Say what you like about Helgen, they do make heavy models. It's the Tango, of course, the new Great Northern release, which is a bit heavier than the 9F at 475 grams. Then in 8th place we have another 9F, this time the Bachmann one, which is slightly heavier than Hornby's at 485 grams. Again though, not surprising to see this loco in the top 10. Then in 7th place we have a Hornby locomotive yet again. This is the new tooled P2 in original condition, and this weighed about the same as the 9F, so I didn't know which to put above the other. 485 grams, still mightily heavy. Okay, in 6th place we are now jumping over the 500 gram boundary with Hornby's Railroad Class 8 Duke of Gloucester, one of the heaviest railroad locomotives available then, I would say, at 502 grams, thanks to its incredibly dense and heavy die-cast chassis. Up next, going to the LMS with Hornby yet again, and their Princess Royal class, which weighs in at 518 grams. So that's another jump. And in 4th place, we have another Hornby LMS locomotive, which is miles heavier than all of the others we've seen so far. It's the Turbomotive at 589 grams. Obviously, that loco has a die-cast body, which massively increases its weight. Alright, in 3rd place we have a Wren locomotive. This is the West Country class in unrebuilt condition, and this weighs in at 614 grams, so we're over the 600 gram mark already. And I should give a little mention to the Wren locomotives here. Many of the Wren models I've got aren't on my database as I've got them in storage, so this loco represents many Wren locomotives. A lot of them are going to be around this sort of weight, possibly some of them heavier than this, because they're all die-cast, they're very, very chunky, high quality. Yeah, I don't think I could make this video without mentioning Wren somehow. And then the final two, you know, of course, we've got the KR Models Bullied Leader, 627 grams, and the heaviest steam locomotive, at least in 00 scale that I've got, is of course the Garrett, which we've already seen. So there you have it then, folks. Those are the heaviest 00 scale locomotives according to me. So hopefully the next time the conversation of heavy trains comes up, you'll be armed with the information of which are the heaviest. But of course, I could be wrong about this. There could be locos that for some reason I didn't write down, locos that I haven't got. If you think you've got a loco that's heavier, that deserves to be on this list that wasn't, get out your food scales. Try and be hygienic, of course. I don't want to be responsible for any train-related deaths in a culinary sense. That's an odd sentence. Yeah, figure it out, see if it's heavier, and comment down below if so, and let me know, and perhaps I'll have to revise this list someday. But anyway, just a bit of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you very, very soon for another video. All right, cheers, folks.